Ringe davet olmuş ilk olarak İtalya komandasının temsilcisi, London Yaya Olimpiya oyunlarının bürüc mükafatçısı, Bakı'da geçilen Dünya Şampiyonası'nın bürüc mükafatçısı, Babaş Manciakapre.
Vincenzo Manciakapre makes his way to the boxing ring, the birthday boy, 26 years of age today. An Olympic bronze medalist from London 2012. Part of a glittering collection he has amassed in his AIBA elite boxing career over the years.
Babaş komandasının okuşu. Avrupa Şampiyonası'nın bürüc mükafatçısı. Biz onu çok güzel tanıyoruz. Heybetullah Hacı Ali!
Heybetullah Hacı Aliyev makes his way towards the boxing ring. In anticipation of this bout against Manciakapre. Hacı Aliyev, 23 years of age, he too participated in the Olympics in London 2012 in a 64-kilogram light welterweight division. Lost in the first preliminary round of that particular Olympiad, quarter-finalist in the World Championships in Baku back in 2011. Hugely experienced competitor in AIBA Olympic-style boxing. Got the highly decorated AIBA Olympic boxing star Vincenzo Manciakapre of Italy in the other corner in the 64-kilogram light welterweight bout. For the first round, we're scheduled for 5 threes. We're in the 64-kilogram light welterweight division. Manciakapre has taken a swift left hand from Hacı Aliyev. Immediately that brings about a fast-fisted response from the Italian. Very relaxed operator. Big fan of Roy Jones Jr. And you can see that he tries to emulate the style of the Val Barker Trophy winner from the Seoul 1988 Olympics. Big single shot from Hacı Aliyev brings about a standing count right on the point of Manciakapre's chin. He indicates that he's okay, but he was shaken to his bootstraps by that thunderous single shot from Hacı Aliyev. And that, one of the perils of boxing with a low-held guard. They can pull the trigger before you can react. You can find your chin getting tested, and it has been done there. Left hook success again. This occasion it was followed up by a right hand. And Manciakapre, it's a good thing that he's got a solid set of whiskers, because his chin has been tested solidly in the opening half of this opening round. Flashing left hook has been a real danger punch for Hacı Aliyev. Right hand got through, and then arcing hooks around the back of the gloves of Manciakapre, who just appears to be a little bit off the pace to begin this opening round. Leaping left hook once again from Hacı Aliyev. And Heybetullah Hacı Aliyev has really started brightly in the opening round of this 64-kilogram light welter contest. Left hook once more, the referee looking closely. It was that type of shot that brought about a standing count at the beginning of this round. And Hadjillayev has had success with it all bout long so far. Throughout the course of this first round, it is as though that left hook is being guided by missile. Arcing hooks have repeatedly found a home on the chin of Manciakapre. Not going to change his style now, of course. We've mentioned the fact that he idolizes Roy Jones Jr., switching his feet between orthodox and southpaw, boxing in that low hand-held style. But again, this time it's the right hand that lands in thunderous fashion on the unprotected chin of Vincenzo Manciakapre. Hard, arcing punches being swung out by Hadjillayev. And Manciakapre, well, he's conceded that first round. It's the 10-point must system in effect. And now we have to pose the question, will some of the judges score it as a 10-8 round? Even though it is the 10-point must system, different interpretation of it in AIBA rules. Boxing doesn't necessarily have to be on the floor for it to be a 10-8 round. And by the same token, a boxer who's been on the floor and dominated throughout the round won't necessarily win by a 10-8 margin. But Hadjillayev was brilliant during that opener, and there Judge B has scored it 10-8 for the home boxer, for the Azerbaijan Baku Fires. The other two scoring it 10-9, but all three of the scoring judges favouring the Azeri boxer after a dominant display during the course of the opening round.
Second round,
So Manciakapre looking to turn things around here in the second round, because during the course of round one, he endured a torrid time. Was on the receiving end of a standing count after being tagged by a flashing left hook that caused him to sway backwards. But he didn't really make any adjustments to his style or his approach, continued to box with his hands down by his belt line, and he was tagged just as he was there by a right cross repeatedly by the flashing fists of Hadjillayev. Crosses, hooks, uppercuts, all were finding a home onto the jaw of Manciakapre. The punches were so eye-catching as well. Oftentimes when you're in the ring with a boxer who operates in that fashion, sometimes perhaps their feet not in a conventional stance, the punch, even though it lands solidly, it can appear to be far more dramatic than it actually is when the head sways back and the hands are down by the side, and it leaves the boxer swaying like a reed in the breeze. So Manciakapre now going to have to do something, as he's taught again by a swift left hook. Fired up as Hadjillayev exploded up from a crouch. He got through the right cross following up as well. But that is proving to be such a potent, profitable punch for the man from Azerbaijan. And Manciakapre really isn't at the races at the moment. And what is supposed to be a two-horse race is being turned into a procession by Hadjillayev halfway through this second round. Manciakapre continuing to switch his feet, but really not very accurate with the punches that he's letting go. Hadjillayev just playing peekaboo as he does there, and again it's brought about another standing count. Manciakapre extends his arms in frustration, raises the gloves to show that he's okay, but he's being tagged by solid punches. And we mentioned the effect that it can have in the eyes of the referee and the judges when a boxer chooses to operate out of an unconventional type boxing stance. And by that I don't mean a southpaw, but with the hands down by the belt line and the feet rather splayed. The shot appears to have a far greater effect than it would with his chin tucked down. When you see the head fly back and the bend at the waist and the arch of the back, all of that can influence the referee's decision to intervene and issue a standing count. Manciakapre has now suffered two of them one in each round, and on each occasion it's been a single shot that has brought about the intervention of the referee. Manciakapre again shuffling backwards towards the ropes with his hands down by his belt line, but while he's operating in that fashion, his chin is continually being checked. A couple of jabs were successful for Manciakapre, but there's the left hook again. And exploding up like a jack in the box. It's Hadjialayev. And a standing count for the second time. Again, it's the left hook that lands on the jaw of Manciakapre. And the referee wants to give him some respite from the onslaught he's been subjected to. Again, all three judges favouring Manciakapre for the second round in succession. He's the victim of a 10-8 round, despite not being on the canvas. And so far, this is all Heibatullah Hadjialayev in this 64-kilogram light welterweight bout. Into round 3 we go. Vincenzo Manciakapre, as well as that Olympic bronze medal in 2012. He's got bronze medals from world and European AIBA Olympic boxing style competitions. Lost in the light welterweight Olympic semi-final to the Cuban maestro Roniel Iglesias. In the semi-final, as the boxers find themselves on the canvas, Manciakapre can afford to smile, but the clock's continuing to tick here, and given the state of the bout, it's in favour of the Azeri. He's perhaps guilty of a hip toss, reminiscent of a move from the mixed martial arts octagon rather than the boxing ring. The action's resumed. It's Manciakapre who has got to find some type of adaptive strategy to get himself back into this contest, because he's trailing heavily. Suffered a 10-8 round for a judge in both the opener and round number 2, having been subjected to standing counts in both of those rounds. But despite the state of the contest and the predicament he finds himself in, there is no discernible change of tactic or tempo from Manciakapre. Furtive glance at the score clock. Boxers of this experience, of course, will have that 3-minute duration inbuilt into their competitive DNA. He'll know how long there is to go in this round. And he's got to try and find something different if he hopes to tie things up in the course of this match for the Italia Thunder. They're currently trailing by 2 bouts to 1, having taken the opener in the 75-kilogram middleweight division. The Italia Thunder got back on terms courtesy of Paddy Barnes in the 49-kilogram light flyweight bout. Then in the 56-kilogram contest, Magomed Gurbanov prevailed over the Olympic bronze medalist Michael Conlon to get the Thunder back in front 2-1. And really, Manciakapre, one of the more experienced members of the Italia Thunder boxing team. Barnes and Conlon, of course, hugely decorated members from AIBA Olympic boxing in their own right. But Manciakapre, well, he wouldn't have anticipated a performance like this, and nor would the Italia Thunder management. Has been terribly off the pace. There's a good right hand from the Italian. But again, there's nothing sustained. He's very relaxed, perhaps too relaxed. Wrestled to the floor for the second time in the round. And the referee, well, it's a mild talking to. Oh, and that is horrific. Blood leaking all over the face of Vincenzo Manciakapre. The Italian team apoplectic. It's already happened before the hip toss to the canvas for the second time, but unable to see what has caused that cut. Was it an accidental clash of heads? The referee has made no indication in either direction in that regard. Was it a punch? But as though he didn't have enough to contend with, Vincenzo Manciakapre, who has conceded the 3rd round unanimously, he now has to overcome the adversity of a cut. So 3 rounds completed, he's trailing by 4 points for 2 of the judges, having conceded rounds in a 10-8 style in round 1 and 2, and that appeared to be a very significant injury beneath his eye. So round 4 underway. It's the 64-kilogram light welterweight division, and Vincenzo Manciakapre of the Italia Thunder, wearing the white trunks trimmed with black, is having a torrid time against Heibatullah Hadjialayev, the 2013 Azeri national champion at 64-kilogram light welterweight. He too took a bronze medal at the European Championships. It was the 2011 edition in Ankara in Turkey, and he continues to have success, does Hadjialayev, against a rather pedestrian Vincenzo Manciakapre. He's wearing a phlegmatic expression on his face, but there's no urgency about his work. There's no intensity in the punches that he's letting go, and it's almost as though he's treating this as a sparring session, showing contempt for the punches that Hadjialayev is continually raining home on his chin. And he's showing that he's got a stout set of whiskers and a good punch resistance, but all of these are scoring points. And he's trailing by a proverbial country mile in this contest. And of course, that's one of the attractions of World Series boxing. Not only is he trailing, his team is trailing as well. And if they fail to get back on terms during this contest, then that will be the match over, because they will be trailing by an insurmountable margin after 4 of the 5 completed contests. So much riding on the outcome of this bout, but Manciakapre has been unable to change the tempo or tactics despite trailing heavily. He continues to look towards the ring lights and the score clock. Is that a distress signal? Is he feeling the pace? Given the amount of punches he shipped, despite not being on the canvas from a punch. I mean, look at that. He's an Olympic bronze medalist, but that hook was so slow, you could have boiled an egg in the time it took to complete its arc. Manciakapre badly off the pace and being continually out-punched during the course of this contest. Solid right hand gets through once more, and there's a left hook follow-up from Hadjialayev. The nick between the left eye hasn't really leaked too noticeably during the course of this 4th round. The corner have done a good job in stemming the flow of blood in that injury that he suffered in round number 3. But this is a really disappointing performance from Vincenzo Manciakapre. Not every night, of course, is going to be your night in the boxing ring, but the manner in which he's competing is really disappointing given the state of the contest for him and his Italia Thunder team. Another round surely in the bag for Heibatullah Hadjialayev, who has been relentless in his pursuit and his punch output during the 4 completed rounds of this light welterweight bout. More right-hand success. Most of his success has been of the single shot variety, but Manciakapre has been so slow. Hadjialayev has been issued a warning, perhaps for those continual trips to the canvas that he subjected Manciakapre to. But it's another round in the bag for Hadjialayev. Manciakapre hasn't taken a share of any round, being comprehensively outboxed with 1 round to go. So a sporting touch of gloves between the 2 boxers begins round number 5 in this 64-kilogram light welterweight bout. And Vincenzo Manciakapre, well, he's here representing himself and the Italia Thunder, but he has looked at times disinterested in the contest in which he is competing. Hadjialayev has been alert, he's been bright, he's been accurate with his punches, he's boxed out of a crouch and exploded up like a jack-in-the-box to detonate rights and lefts onto the chin of Manciakapre. He took a standing count in round 1, a standing count in round 2, suffered a cut in round number 3. But those scores, of course, are public. He will have known, or at least had an idea that he's trailing in this contest. But really, there's been no increasing of tempo. Great champions, great boxers, great athletes. The competitive spirit kicks in, and they try and do something different, try and get their way back into the contest by sheer force of will. If their skills aren't coming together or their feet aren't moving as they would like. None of those traits have been in evidence from Manciakapre tonight. And it's been a painful experience, I would suggest, during the course of this light welterweight bout so far. Not only physically due to the punches that he shipped, but must be psychologically as well, because he appears to be in a really bad place. Unable to raise his game, unable to dig deep and find that response and that resolve that he's exhibited so often in his boxing career. You don't get an Olympic bronze medal or world bronze and European bronze unless you've got those qualities about you. Trying to fight back gamely now, but he appears rusty, he appears lethargic. He needs a punch to put his man on the floor for the count of 10, and he doesn't appear capable of producing it. Weary-legged, tired arms, and just unable to impose his will or his style or his strategy on this bout. Credit to Haybatullah Hadjialiyev. He's an experienced World Series boxer. Wins in season 4. And again, as we approach the closing bell, it continues to be a one-way affair. Haybatullah Hadjialiyev utterly dominant during the course of this 5 3-minute rounds, and there can be little doubt about the outcome of this contest. And if it goes the way which we all anticipate it will, then that will mean that last year's runners-up, the Azeri, the Azerbaijan, Baku Fires, will have got their season 5 campaign off to a winning start. Manciakapre, bitterly disappointed. We just wait for the official verdict. Sometimes as an athlete you have those nights, but very, very disappointing. Did he leave it all in the gym? Did he overtrain? No suggestion that he has trouble making the weight. He looks in fantastic fit condition cosmetically, but the engine wasn't what he would have anticipated. Let's get the official verdict.
49-44.
The winner is galip gelir Haybatullah!
So a dominant display from Haybatullah Hadjialiyev. Despite being given that warning, he takes the 64-kilogram light welterweight bout against Vincenzo Manciakapre, and that victory in that contest means that it's victory for the Azerbaijan Baku Fires in the opening week of World Series Boxing Season 5. They have an insurmountable 3-1 lead in this Week 1 opener with just the heavyweights to come. But still, plenty to box for, because there's a difference between a 4-1 defeat and a 3-2 defeat. Italy still looking to get something out of this Week 1 match.